on our program, a special edition of the platform, and Bianca Nygard is here, and we have Bahamian Trae. And they recently went to the residence of Peanuts Taylor, the icon, the Bahamian legend, and had an interview with him. And so let's watch that interview right now.
Peanuts. So this is Bahamian Trae, and he was on our show on JCN.
So nice to meet you.
It's so nice, man.
He said if he had a dream come true, it would be to meet the legendary Peanuts Taylor and be able to talk to you for an afternoon. So now this is making his dream come true.
Well, wonderful.
Well, like I
She,
said, I have so much to ask, and there's so much I I know about you that I wanna hear from you. Because from the research that I've been doing with all the other great names, and I stumbled upon yours, and my dad also told me a lot about you,
yeah.
and I just wanted to know so much because it was a long time ago, like in the time when you guys really represented the Gombe's music,
Yeah.
in that genre. And I know from, like I said on the show last time, I said that I wanted to be an artist, and this is something that I want to do. I told myself that I want to get all the knowledge that I need from the ones that were before me and the ones that really held the culture and at the forefront and stuff. So, like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
did you see, have you seen Chippy?
Yes.
He's next.
He's
next.
next.
He hasn't had a chance to meet Chippy yet.
Oh, Chippy is great.
Yes.
He is really great.
He saw the drum offs. The drum offs that
Yeah.
you and Chippy always
Yeah,
did together.
we play together, yeah.
That was so beautiful. Everybody looked forward to seeing that all the time, their drum offs.
So from what I know, you was drumming since you were 4.
Well, I was with Paul Mayers
Mm-hmm.
from, I was dancing with Paul Mayers
Mm-hmm.
from I was 4. I didn't start drumming until I was with George Simonet, and George was at the Imperial Hotel, and he asked
Where's
me.
that? Where that was?
The Imperial Hotel was opposite the British Colonial
Oh, okay.
Hotel,
Yes, sir.
and it was just a piano, a bar, and out there all open. And George Sherman and I played there for years. I didn't go, I didn't leave there until the Junkanoo. The Junkanoo, there was a club called the Junkanoo, and Leo Rost uh, wanted me to come there. And I was working at the Imperial Hotel, and he said, yeah, I want you to come and work at the Junkanoo. I said, Junkanoo? He said, yeah. I'll open a club,
Just for you.
and I'll have just you, come in, and you can bring whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
and put on a show.
That was when the Bahamas was really happening. There was a lot of clubs going on and a big
Everything.
nightlife and the
You had a club
cultural
as well.
shows and everything
Oh
that there
yeah,
was to do.
I had the drum beat, the
Tropicana.
Tropicana, banana boat. I had the what else? let me forget.
Lots of clubs.
But how was it like? Because I know that George Simonet did a lot too.
George, I worked with George.
How was it to be the drummer for George Simonet? Like how was that experience of? Because I know you guys. Did you not only perform in Nassau? Did you guys go like where all have you guys?
Travel around the world.
You know.
Yeah. Well, George Simonet was, uh, what can I say about George Simonet? Was everything to everyone because he was like 7 feet tall
I didn't know
and
that.
yeah, and he everywhere he went in New York, he took me with him to New York to make records with Alice Sims. You ever heard of her?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he did a lot of records with Alice Sims, and he took me with him, and he took me with him everywhere. I was like his.
Yeah.
Protege.
Wow. And I know, from what I know, like with because we still, believe it or not, we still have access to a lot of those recordings now because
Old
I found a
records,
lot of
old
the
records.
old
Yeah,
records that you
yeah.
guys did and stuff, and I noticed where you can hear where the quality is really old. So I want to know where, like, what did you guys have to go through when it came to recording? Because I know the process is way different than it is now. So how, like, was it, or where did you guys have to go? Because I know, from what I heard, sometimes you guys would go to Freeport, or you would record in Nassau, or what was the process, and where did you guys usually record?
Well, what we did is very original because what we did was we took all the instruments with us to do everything live.
One take.
Yes, you're right.
And
live.
that is what amazed me, because I know that back then you couldn't go back and say, oh, let me stop here and record and go
No.
back. So to hear the greatness, like, that's where and that's one of the main reasons why I appreciate the music so much, because to know that it was right on point, everything was, you know what I mean? And it had to be. It wasn't that, it was just easy to do. It had to be that way because that's how you had to record it. And for all the live instruments, and then I noticed with the drumming, like, we have the traditional rhythm of the drum to be like the boom boom tap boom 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 tap, but I noticed when I hear stuff that you did where the rhythm was so different
Yeah.
with how you beat the drum. And where would you say that your inspiration, like, as it relates to the rhythm and how the way you played, where did your inspiration come when it came to playing the drum? Because, like I say, the drunken rhythm that we know is boom boom tap boom 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 tap. But you had a whole different, like, from the recordings that I know, you had a whole different flow, and especially if you were the drummer for George Simonet, and I would hear some of his songs, and the drum solo would be so
Well,
amazing and just different.
The good thing about my playing was I was lucky. I worked in Ciro's in California, and I worked with China Poser. I worked with who was a Cuban drummer.
Yes,
I worked with let me see if I can remember them now. But I worked with a lot of drummers in California, and I picked up the rhythms from them, because they were, they were great drummers. I worked with Candido. You ever heard about Candido?
Gandino?
Candido.
No, sir, I never heard of that. He was an artist, or he was a
He was a
percussionist?
drummer,
Okay.
and he was great. And I started. China Poser, you you heard his name.
Yes,
Well, he was starting when I went out to California, and he was just great. When you hear those drummers like that, you had to be inspired to play what they could play, because there was nothing else. There was no other drummer or rhythm that you could play better than what they had. And so you have to learn it. You have to sit down and learn, play with them and learn it. And, you know, you just, you were so inspired. You couldn't
help but not to.
Right.
I remember the TV show that I saw you on that was in the United States called I Have a Secret.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was the game show.
Yeah.
And you played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with the drum. Like,
Yeah.
I know for me, definitely I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm not a drummer. But from off the knowledge of it, I'm sure that's not easy to be able to hit every key and know exactly how, you know, with the drum, because you would think a drum makes one rhythm, whatever type of drum it is, you know what I mean? Because you get a certain sound from this drum and that drum and that drum, but you use this one Congo drum and you play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and you know with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star it goes up and down, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So how was you able, and you did it, you know what I mean? And I see you mentioned about the Cuban drummers, and I also found out that you were one of the only non-Cubans to be honored for the, I think it was the Liort, it is some award from the National Cuban Association or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we did. Well, what happened to me was I was working at Ciro's in California, and Ciro's was the club where everybody started out. All the big stars, anyway. I work with Nat King Cole. I work with the Mills Brothers. I work with the Lancers. I work with all the big stars out at Ciro's. And when you work at Ciro's, you had to learn all those things because the people that you're working with knew everything. And they could ask you, let's do this, you know, and you can't be stuck.
You gotta know. Wow, and you was also honored for I think you're a member of the British Empire, the award from the Queen herself.
Yeah.
That's so amazing for the excellence, the British award for excellence. That's so amazing. That is so amazing because, you know, like, at least some of my peers, the ones that, you know, try to find the knowledge, they get it and they know and they appreciate it. But the ones that don't know, you know, they think that we don't have people to be proud of. But it's people like you that did, like, who are the reason why we have the ability to do these things now, or the reason why the culture, you know, was able to get to this point, you know? And I could say definitely, personally, like, the smile ain't drop off my face yet. I can't even finish the great cookie that I started. And it's like, I'm just so appreciative and so, you know, honored to be here to just listen to you tell me about these things, because for me it's really important. It's really very important. And I think for the other artists too, that are going to be, you know, coming up who need to know this knowledge, they are going to appreciate it as well. You know?
Well, you know, the thing, another drummer like me was Chippy. And Chippy is still king of the drums.
Wow.
Right. Because he made them all the time. Chippy made the drums out of everything he played. He take a bucket and give it to Chippy and said,
he'd make a drum.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, he's still doing that. You know that now?
Yes,
Yeah. He's 90 and he was still making drums the other day.
Wow. Wow.
But Chippy and Peanuts have always had a wonderful relationship.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, oh yeah.
And a humorous competition between them where they say, who's the better one? The other one says, me, I am, and the other one says, they are. But they have an enormous respect for each other.
Well, you have to take the talent that you have,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't be too proud of the talent that you have. You just have to use it and play as good as you can, and be what do it and get away from it. One of the important things about entertainment is you can't be too great. You know, because if you get too great, you go under. You have to feel your talent and do what you can do and pass it on to other people.
Yes,
You know, there's so many people to learn, which make you a very, very, very lovely person, because you are willing to stand out there and learn what it is to be an entertainer. That, that's that's not that's not easy. It's difficult.
So for you, who would you say was, or who did you look up to as a teacher? Was it Paul Mires, like because you would dance for him at that time, and was it him that you really look up to, and like how did he help you, you know, coming up in that time, like?
Well, Paul Mayers was like, you know, it's difficult to talk about Paul Mayers, because Paul Mayers was the king of entertainment for the Bahamas. He went to New York. He was not too popular in New York, and he left New York and went to London and went to Paris. He worked with Josephine Baker. You have heard of Josephine Baker?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He worked with Josephine Baker at the Folie Bergère. That was a club in Paris, and he was really very, very famous. You have any pictures of Josephine?
I could find pictures of Josephine,
Okay, but that's good.
yes, sir.
That's good.
But I've seen pictures of Paul Mures as well, and you know that's how I found out about Josephine Baker too, through
Oh,
you know all of that, and it's just so amazing to you know hear where it came from, because that was in like the early 1900s,
oh.
right?
I don't want to talk about that was, but Josephine Baker was great because she was in New York, and she had to leave New York because back in those days, black people couldn't get too famous, you know, and she went, she got famous in New York, and she said, I gotta get out of here. So she went to Paris and worked with Josephine Baker. Very, 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 very good. You could, in those days, back in those days, you had to go where the music was playing. You couldn't stay one place, because if you stay one place, you couldn't make it.
Yes, everybody was traveling around at that time.
You couldn't.
And then, like you were saying, then they brought the Bahamian culture other places, so people would know to come back to the Bahamas also.
And from what I found out too, one of the reasons for that at that time was for people like Sir Stafford Sands.
Yeah.
He what how was he instrumental in making that happen?
Well, he was the minister of tourism,
Yes, sir.
and being the ministry of tourism, he knew that he understood that music was the thing that made people come to the Bahamas, and he took me and all Eloise and
Eloise Lewis.
people, yeah, all the famous Deacon Wiley. He took us all over the state, and he was not afraid to take us because he know that was what
Oh, back then.
yeah, that was what the entertainment was about.
That would be nice if it was the same way now.
Wow. Wow. And I would definitely say that okay, so because it's so much pros and cons because I wouldn't want to ask if you think it was easier back then because I know you did have the like we were saying before the camera even came on that it'll be difficult when you decide to do something that you're really passionate about how you're saying like being an entertainer you'll have to go through that time of hard work and the times of the little speed bumps and stuff so I wouldn't even want to ask if it was harder but what is it okay like with where do I go with this? Like when it came to just trying to be, when it came to when it came to being an artist, because like you said back then with the colors. So how was it when it came to traveling, like dealing with that
Well,
at that time, and or how was it even being here, dealing with it at that time?
well, the thing about being entertainer in the Bahamas, it was so new.
Mm,
Entertainment was not just entertainment, because then, back then, entertainment was new. It was Stafford Sons was a minister of tourism, and he made sure to use people like me and Blind Blake and all Eloise and he
yes,
made
sir.
sure he knew what entertainment was like for us, and he allowed us to go abroad.
Mm. Have you worked with Blind Blake as well?
Oh yeah, uh, Blind Blake. You
Wow,
couldn't.
can you tell me a little bit about him?
Well, Blind Blake.
He wasn't blind for you, right?
Yeah.
He was
Oh
blind for you?
yeah.
I thought that was just a name. So
That's just
but he used to
no.
play too, right?
Yeah.
Tell
Blind
me.
Blake was Blind Blake lived over the hill, and he entertained and sang, and he was just great.
Wow.
Blind Blake was great.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was really blind.
Yeah,
What about Charlie Adamson?
Charlie Adamson. Charlie Adamson was uh, was played played, but he was a gas station man.
Hmm.
Yeah, he 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 had, he had his gas station over the hill, and he just talented.
Wow.
You
Wow.
know what can I tell you?
So you would definitely say that back then for the entertainers, they well, once they I guess had the talent and they decided to pursue the talent, that they had the opportunity to take it further.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well, because that's Stafford Sands was the minister of tourism, and he took Bahamians. He used the Bahamian entertainers to promote the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
You see, and That's all you have to do.
How many years were you in the entertainment business? Do you know?
Me?
Mhm.
Forever.
Yeah.
From I was 4 years old.
Yeah, I was trying to find out your age.
Oh,
The big secret.
that's very good. That's a good one.
I didn't get you though.
21. A little over 20.
Mhm. But I know that you were honored at the Independence Day celebrations at Clifford Park.
Yes, right.
Yeah, that was really nice. And somebody was playing the drums that you taught.
He came, I gave him a drum
Mhm.
when I was in Cuba.
Oh.
And when he came to Nassau, he came over here. He was here. He brought his drums and everything and played. And oh, he was really, really a fantastic drummer.
Mhm. Yeah, he did really well. And it was really nice to see you on the big screen in the back at
Yeah, that
Clifford.
was something,
It
right?
was really nice. And I was so happy because my daughter was actually one of the dancers in that. So,
What?
yes. Sailor. So it's nice to be there. Mhm.
Wow. It's really it's really an honor. Like I say again, just to know, all the not only the difficulties, but just even the casualties of, what you had to go through and how you got through it. You know.
Well, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard either
Mm.
because music is just music. And if you know and you how to develop yourself and you become famous, that's it
Mhm.
in music. Because people will want your music and appreciate your music. All you have to do is do it the best that you can.
Yes,
And
Because this, especially Bahamian music.
mhm. And you have some albums out. The name? Do you remember the name of the album, Trey?
the moods of Phoenix Taylor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Moods of
I
Phoenix
gave
Taylor.
And
you.
this one is this was what he gave me this.
Oh.
You wouldn't get
Oh, there's
that.
one more. I think it's for me.
Yeah,
But mine is special.
yeah.
But yeah, this one is Peanuts and Friends. This
Mhm.
one is it features KB, Funky D, Ronnie Butler, Mr. Chippy, Emilio Vega, Sweet Emily, Therese Hepburn, Ancient Mind, and I don't want to misspell this one. Uraldi Abreu.
You really, yeah.
But, but the job this when I get home, cause like it's so much inspiration, like I said again, that we get, at least me, I get from listening to music from that time because it's so authentic, you know? And like you said, how you guys, used to go through to having to get it done. It's like you couldn't go wrong with it. It almost
No.
felt like you couldn't go wrong with it. But I really appreciate this though. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you so much. Is there anything more?
Let me think. Is it anything else? I don't think so. Unless you want to
I
tell me
think
some more.
I think all you have to do is have the attitude that you have as an entertainer because you know the value of it once you have the attitude because you listened to the entertainers and you pick up all the things that they have and that's what make you develop.
Mhm.
So,
You 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 just develop like that.
Mhm.
well, that takes away from the question I was about to ask. Where, what advice would you give to someone like me, or like, any words or anything that you would say, having to pertain to the culture when it comes to music, or like, what would you tell them, or what would you advise them?
Work hard. Work hard. Do what you're doing, and seek the people that's good, that will teach you. And if you do that, you go ahead. I mean, you can't be better than being with the people. I mean, just being with you, and to me, I feel honored to be with a young person like you,
No,
because
you cause me
you make
crying
me, you,
Don't cause me crying
you know,
You can cause me share a couple.
no, because you make me feel good, because I feel that I was responsible. People like Chippy and me and uh, uh,
Seminar and them, Mr. George.
George Simmons, Lion Blake, we all were together. And, it was difficult in those days. It was very, very difficult.
I have one more question too. As it like, because I told you guys like I could do this all day. Like I could talk all day when it comes to and I want to know like amongst the people, because one narrative that people like to say now is that Bahamians don't support Bahamians. So back then, did you definitely get the support from the Bahamian people?
Yeah,
Fully,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like when it came to coming to your shows and everything.
Yeah. It was so different then. You see, uh, what can I say? Bahamians, well, that's the only music we had.
Mm-hmm.
And when when you go, we could go to the Silver Slipper or the Zanzibar, or I mean that's the only thing you could find. I mean you listen to Freddie Munnings. I mean Freddie Munnings was like a star,
Wow.
you know, when you listen to him sing.
Mind the noise in the market.
Yeah,
Mind the price of the fish.
he was just really great.
Wow.
Freddie Munnings was unbelievable. He was something that I don't know if you can, if we have someone like Freddie Munnings coming up. Oh, I don't know.
I didn't even think so. Because I've listened to a few of his music. Like, I honestly, I don't even think that, because it just was so different, like you said back then, because I know from what I noticed, I noticed every name that you called, someone had a talent as relates to like instruments. Everybody could have played something, like back then, from what I understand, and
They
now
all
it's not
played.
really like that. So
They
like
all
that
played.
makes them special within
Yeah,
themselves like that.
he was special. Freddie Munnings was special because he could play anything
Wow.
really.
Wow, but I really, again, I really, really, really appreciate having this talk with you. I really appreciate it. I just so glad to be here right now.
Well, it's great to have you, and I wish I could have played uh, for you and let you see what kind of what it is to play the way I did. But
He's
I'm older.
Yeah.
and he's seen
That's
it on
okay,
the
that's okay.
videos. But I saw the light in his eye when he was speaking on the show, and when he said that his dream was to meet you. I felt so happy that to know you for so long, and I'm like, maybe I can make his dream come true.
Oh.
And I
He's like, I know,
you
he's
did.
really
You did.
he's so
Yeah.
happy.
Like,
Mm.
She is
I'm
great.
gonna stop smiling.
She is
I'm
great.
gonna stop smiling now.
Thank you so much for having us over.
Oh,
So
you're great.
Well, that was an interview with the great Peanuts Taylor.
Yes.
And it was wonderful, wasn't it?
It was very touching,
awesome.
especially when Bahamian Trae, he had tears in his eyes at that one point.
I almost, yeah, I was close. I wasn't crying. I was crying a little bit. I wasn't. And they making me admit it. But anyway, yeah, I almost did because it was really touching to hear what he had to say to me, because I said that I was honored and he said that he was honored to, be able to speak with me about all these stuff. And that hit me because I hold them to a very high respect. And from listening to their music and then finding out all these stuff is like, for me, the same way how he said that he worked with people like Nat King Cole. And if you speak to an American, and the respect they hold to Nat King Cole is the respect that I would hold to someone like Peanuts Taylor, because they did great and wonderful things, you know what I mean? So to hear him say that, for me, especially as an artist, I was like, wow, you mean that? And then, people at that age, they mean the words that they say, and they don't mince their words. They would, speak the truth most times, and to hear him say that, that was like, wow, and then the things that he did, working with all these different people and what he did for the culture, because like I was saying, he was one of the artists who the Minister of Tourism would use to bring people back to the Bahamas. So you could definitely say that he was at the forefront. He helped to build the culture to what it is, physically and just, with ease.
They had the National Geographic book in their house, and it was a special edition on the Bahamas. It had so many beautiful pictures of the Bahamas, and then Peanuts had his own page dedicated in the National Geographic.
right?
Yeah,
In
it's
National
really nice.
Geographic, like all these different things to be proud of, you know what I mean? And I learned more about him too, and I was like,
And Peanuts is so humble. He's so humble,
Yeah.
and he's like, if you think I'm a good drummer, just wait until you see. You have to go visit Chippy, and he kept on talking about Chippy, and they have that nice friendship, and so that's our next stop, is that we're going to visit Chippy at his house.
There was a drumming contest between them one time. Hey, we were doing it for fun,
Yeah, they always did that. They always had that drum offs, the drum offs.
You call it the drum off, okay?
Yes.
Right. And so after, I guess in a few weeks when you have the time, you'd go and meet John Chippy Chipman.
yes, sir.
There are many other entertainers that you must meet, eh?
Give me some who you think I should really share.
Well, I mentioned before we started the program, people like Duke Errol Strawn, who would have tremendous memory of entertainment in the Bahamas in the 50s and the 60s. Unfortunately, some of the entertainers are deceased, like King Eric and Ronnie, and people like Mr. Hepburn. We have a wall of fame in our radio studio. And when we leave here, I want you to walk with me over to the radio studio, so that I can point out some of these people.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'd love to see those pictures.
The late Freddie Munnings.
Yeah, those.
Count Bernardino.
Yeah, man, I'd definitely be interested.
All of these people, Joseph Spence.
Yeah.
You know about Joseph Spence?
Yeah, we need to go see these right now. We need to go see these
Yes.
pictures.
Joseph Spence, who sang "I'm on the Rolling Sea" when Jesus spoke to me.
Yeah.
You know that one, right?
Of course, all of them.
Yes. Okay.
All of them.
Good. Well, Bahamian Trae, it's always good to see you.
It's always good to see you too, Mr. Jones.
And we'll take a walk over in Love 97 right now.
Okay.
And good to see you again, Bianca.
Yes,
And,
nice to be here.
Thank you for arranging that interview.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. It was
Again,
really
like I
nice.
said, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for
So
watching
much.
and listening to our program. Good evening, everyone.